Hi, I'm Colin Shantz, CEO of Copper Tree Solutions, and today I'm going to be talking about 4 critical questions to ask before signing with a new MSP. As mentioned, today we're talking about 4 critical questions to ask an MSP before signing with them. The first one is, what metrics do you monitor to determine success? And really what we mean by that is, what exactly are they measuring and how do they quantify success? And we'll get into some details of how we do that later. The second question is, how will you develop an IT strategy for an organization? So what's the process of really understanding the business and making recommendations that will allow your business to achieve success? Third question, what is your process for continuously improving our IT infrastructure? So how do we get better over time and ultimately keep things working in that optimal state? Fourth question, how do you identify recurring issues and improve on them? So if there is ongoing issues or problems that keep coming back, what's the process for identifying them and then putting permanent solutions in place? So the first question, what metrics do you monitor to determine success? And really what we're looking for is, what are the key performance indicators, or what are the numbers that you're looking at to determine success? In our organization, there's a bunch of things we look at, but probably the biggest number that our clients look at is what we call our IT health score. So there's a score that represents the overall health of the infrastructure. How does your organization align to best practices? And so you're 99% aligned with best practice or 92% aligned with best practice. It's just a high level metric that allows somebody at the executive level of the organization to understand, is IT something that I need to worry about, or is it good and I can move on to other things? So that's one of the things we look at. Another critical metric is relating to the number of issues that you have in your organization. So how many support tickets do you have in relation to the number of users or devices that are supported in your infrastructure? And just looking at that one metric alone allows us to get a pretty good understanding of where things are at in your organization. There's some pretty standard numbers where there's a range that we like to see organizations within. And if you're outside of that typical range, then we know that there's usually infrastructure problems or maybe a problematic piece of software. But it's really looking at how many support tickets are you getting, and you want to get that as close to zero as possible, understanding that you're probably never going to get quite to zero. But that's the driving goal, is we want to get to as close to zero as we at all can. The next question is, how will you develop an IT strategy for our organization? So the IT strategy is really focused on both infrastructure and also just big picture. How are we leveraging technology? So what's the process to make sure that the IT is serving your organization's needs? With our organization, it starts with what we call our quarterly VCIO meetings. So it's a quarterly meeting with an individual from Copper Tree's side who is ultimately responsible for IT success in your organization. So we start by really understanding your business, understanding your goals, understanding your problems. Where are we today? Where are we going in the future? And how are we going to get there? So we need to look at both the business and also the technology. Once we understand your business, we'll look at the infrastructure, we'll look at the technology, and we'll say, okay, is there other tools that we could be leveraging and other technology that you could be utilizing within your organization, maybe to improve communication, maybe to improve access to data. If you get better data, you can make better decisions. How do we truly leverage technology to help you get to where you're going? And it really is constant conversation, understanding what your challenges are, understanding what your goals are, and then making technology recommendations accordingly. Next question is, what is your process for continuously improving our IT infrastructure? So IT infrastructures are always evolving. IT in general, you never really get to the place where everything is perfect. As soon as you do, there's some new version of something that comes along, or there's a new piece of technology that comes along, or something changes on the security side of things. So how do you always make sure that things are in that optimal state and make sure that it's meeting your business needs? So the way we do that is we have a technician that comes on site and goes through your infrastructure on a monthly basis and says, how do you align with best practices? And we have best practices for every piece of technology that our clients use. It's really, when you think about the technology that's in use, everybody has very similar types of technology in place. Everybody has email, everybody has Wi-Fi, everybody has files, everybody has applications they use. And we have best practices associated with each of those technologies. And we go through and say, all right, how do you stack up? And from that, we get a health score that says you're 99% aligned with best practice, or you're 95% aligned with best practice. And it's really designed, as I mentioned in the previous question, to give the executives a way to measure the health. But it's also a way for us to say, okay, where are the opportunities for improvement within this infrastructure? And once we've identified those areas, we can make some changes. All right. So last question, how do you identify recurring issues and improve on them? And this is a big one. When we actually do analytics on the types of issues that our clients are having, there's two types of things that we're looking for. There's the issues that keep coming back. Why are we constantly having problems with a specific printer? Why was there 7 people that had a problem with remote access in the last month? And then there's also the impactful type of issues. So it happened once, but it had a major impact on the organization. So as we look at each of our clients every month, we're looking for areas that we can make some improvements. How do we change something today to prevent these issues from ever coming back? And it starts really with doing what we call a root cause analysis on the issues. So we'll go back through and we'll look at all the problems that happened in the previous month. And we'll say, what can we do today to prevent these issues from coming back? And it could be a technology change. Maybe there's a problem with some hardware and it needs to be replaced. It could be a configuration issue where we go in and we change how something is set up and configured. It could be a user training thing where we need to put together a document that says, when you're trying to do this particular task, follow these 7 steps. And when you do that, then everything will just work. So we're looking for those areas of opportunity, and it sounds simplistic. It's not rocket science, but it's constantly evaluating, constantly going back and looking at those issues, and then making changes to improve the outcome. If there's a particular printer that's always having problems, let's replace it and put something else in place that just works. So as you make those little changes and you make 1 or 2 improvements every month, you can make a lot of progress over the course of months and years. Thanks for joining me today as we talked about 4 critical questions to ask before signing with a new MSP. To learn more, please visit our website at coppertreesolutions.ca.